Hello and welcome to the Playground Experience. We have here our own April Williams, our own Divine Sunshine, and also later coming on is Kathy D. I'm in another location, so you will not be able to see me where I'm at, and plus I got hair products too as well. So I'm gonna pull a K Moon. She's always behind the scenes as he's talking. Like I don't even see her. What's going on here? So, this is again. We were just talking about the full moon and how with the full moon, it seems like this is kind of like a easy going because again, this full moon is in what? Is it Virgo or is this Libra? Who
It's
is
in
it? It's in
Pisces.
Pisces. Is it Pisces? Okay, right. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming or going. But anyway, this is during the Virgo time. So also this is Virgo season, which is by practicality too. And so again, that dreamy state, I'm feeling like it's a little bit more grounded, and even with the moon, with it being very emotional, and this is a harvest moon. We were just talking about us putting in a lot of work. It depends on where you are on your journey and what track I would say, or what trek you had decided to take your adventure on. Some of us are kind of like again reaping the harvest where we are, or we are have sowed the seeds, and now we're just kind of sitting back and kind of like saying, okay, what else can I do? Do I need to water the grass? Do I need to, make sure it gets enough sunlight? Do I need to add some more seeds, or do I just need to just sit back and relax? Um, Especially with this season where we are now, and I know that's what it's all symbolizing. There is a ease to it, like you said. Maybe that might be also brought on by that Virgo ness too, as well as not getting very, and that's that earthiness that's kind of grounding all of that emotions, that water too as well. But out of all of them, we've been had some hard ones. Some moons is like, oh my God, when is this over with? Can this hurry up and get the heck on out of here? Because I feel like I'm falling apart at the seams. The only thing that I have pretty much experienced is kind of like tiredness, But my understanding, they said the human residents was acting kind of. We had some flares, some solar things, so some of the stuff we can kind of blame on the moon. I guess we'll say it wasn't me, like Shaggy, but it's like again that might be more so the sun that's doing that too as well. So that's
That
something you
and
got to think about that too.
that and like
That and like
almost
almost
every
every
planet is in
planet is in
retrograde,
retrograde. You're right.
which makes
Which
me
makes
think.
me think,
We never
we
talk
never
about
talk
the
about
Earth,
the Earth,
and
and
it never
it
really
never really
goes in
goes in
retrograde. They never
retrograde. They
talk
never
about
talk about
Earth
Earth
retrograde.
retrograde.
So if we're
So if
doing
we're doing that,
so
so
without
without
as
as
within,
within,
everything's having
everything's
its
having its
reset,
reset,
and that's
and
why you
that's
can
why you can
definitely see that
definitely see that
external
external
reset
reset
energy
energy. Right.
that
That
takes time
takes
to
time to
reflect,
reflect,
that
that
watching what
watching
we're
what we're
saying, like
saying, like
actually wondering
actually wondering
how are
how
we
are
or why
we
are
or
we
why are
harming
we harming
ourselves or hurting
ourselves or
ourselves,
hurting
that
ourselves,
kind of
that
thing.
kind of thing.
And
And
so
so
how we could
how
clean
we
it
could
up,
clean
and
it
then
up,
where
and then
we
where
actually
we
want to
actually want to
be, and
be, and
stepping
stepping
towards it.
towards it.
And I feel
And
like
I
we're
feel like
finally
we're
getting
finally
rid
getting
of
rid of
any
any
facade
facade
that does
that
not
does
work
not
for
work
us.
for us. Mm-hmm.
At least
At
that's what
least
I
that's what
feel,
I
because
feel
we've done
because we've
enough
done
shadow
enough
work.
shadow work.
Now I'm
Now I'm
hearing
hearing
mainstream,
mainstream
because I've been
because I've
talking
been
for
talking
so
for
long
so
where I'm like,
long where I'm
oh,
like,
this
oh,
fake
this
love and
fake
light
love and
stuff,
light stuff.
like it's
Like it's
nice and
nice
it's
and it's
fluffy, but
fluffy,
it's like,
but it's
where's your
like, where's your
excuse me,
excuse me,
shadow
shadow
integration work,
integration work? Mm-hmm.
right?
Right?
And being
And being
present with
present
it
with
and
it
having
and
grace with
having
yourself.
grace with
We've been
yourself. We've
talking
been
for I
talking
don't know
for I
how
don't know
long
how
about
long about
having grace
having
for
grace for
yourself and
yourself and
patience for
patience for
yourself
yourself
to actually
to
have your
actually have your
process
process
and not
and not
spiritually
spiritually
bypassing,
bypassing
because it's
because
something
it's
you
something you
repeat, it's
repeat,
something you'll
it's something
attract
you'll
in the
attract in
next
the next
person.
person.
I even
I
heard
even
someone
heard
say
someone
something
say
which I
something
was
which I was
really
really
hilarious. He said,
hilarious. He said,
I was
I was
talking
talking
in a way
in
that
a
I had
way
my
that I had my
Wokemon
Pokemon
outfit on.
outfit on. Mm.
So just
So
playing
just
the game
playing the
of being
game of
woke
being
and
woke
grand
and grand
rising and
rising
like,
and like
love and
love
light,
and
but
light,
then
but
the
then
shadow
shadow
integration, like
integration.
what's
Like
the
what's
dark
the
part of
dark
you,
part of you,
baby?
baby?
Let it
Let
go.
it go.
Move
Move
forward.
forward. Yeah, I would say in some ways of really embracing the good and the bad. And I kind of like what you're saying about beforehand. It's like really saying, "Oh, I'm from woke nation," but it's like a couple of readings. I've kind of heard your spirit like really though. But are you really woke though? Are you really? And like I know people like I like to see your face, but and I'm doing the April face, like, but really, yeah, my head is tilted, and so really trying to understand and see if where we are is it really truly matching up with what's going on the inside, and it's really at the point of saying I can't lie. You kind of see that kind of happening and coming out on your divine counterpart, or even reflecting in your world the saying, if it is like I was telling April about the work that I'm doing here at the house, and how to me, they always say a house is an outer reflection of what's going on with you. And they found out that I had like water seeping from the foundation that was coming into the house that was causing why in the basement it was so moist down there. I had about humidifiers, and I'm just thinking, oh, it's just a part of how basements are. And the man was like, no, 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 no. He said, you buy a humidifier, and then you call the people to come and fix your structure. Because he said that's a pure sign when you got that much humidity that there's something wrong with your foundation. And that's interesting, kind of reflecting of what's going on. Some of the things emotionally that we have been kind of like dealing with and say, oh, okay, that's the norm. Everybody goes through that. Not really thinking like, no, that's not the norm. I think that's the maybe other people have just been numb to it and just saying it's okay, and just have found ways to kind of just deal with it. But we have to kind of get to the point that's like, nah, this is not part of me. I don't care if everybody else says this is normal. This ain't my normal. And I'm not going to even call it the new normal. And so that's was an interesting thing. Now I said, okay, that's a reflection of too much emotions coming in. Emotions has been your foundation to everything. To me, that's what it reflected to me. I always look for the symbolism. And so it's like, again, you've got to seal off how you're dealing with things, and how you're going that to your like default setting as far as emotional, how you reacting to everything. And it's like, okay, seal off. I don't know, I'm hearing somebody saying about this something like it's a sailor thing, like toe the line or hold the something, whatever it is. It's like that again. It's something again on this journey, as far as that of understanding our emotions, where it's a point that again, looking at the clues that the universe is giving us, and understanding that, hey, some things that we think is okay is not okay. Like April said, you think you're woke, but are you really woke? So that's something that I believe that really is. I guess we always talk about the coffee pot theory, that we're talking about some of the things that we thinking that is really is clean, but maybe somebody else say, oh, that's clean, and we might pass the coffee pot to somebody else, to a professional or somebody else, and they might say, baby, that is nowhere near clean. I don't know who told you that's how you clean things. Did your mother tell you that's how you clean a pot? Or did your friends tell you? Or did you watch commercials? Or you've been watching YouTube and they said, that's how you clean a pot, but that's not really clean. So that's kind of interesting, like where we are on this journey. I know for me, that's kind of where it is. It's like integrity. No, be truthful with yourself in the way you're talking to yourself, how you're feeling things. Do you really want to do this? No, I really don't want to do that today. Okay, I'm not even going to push myself to do it. I'm not even going to fake the funk to do it. I don't want to do it. So that's kind of like where on this journey, I think we are on this point of just really taking a good introspective look this time, really from a place of realism, keeping it really truly 100.
Okay, I
Okay, I
completely agree.
completely agree.
It's been
It's been
so much
so much
integration.
integration.
Like
Like
we have been
we
doing the
have been
shadow
doing the
work
shadow
since
work
the
since
time
the time
immemorial.
immemorial.
That's what it
That's
feels
what it
like.
feels like.
And
And
to hear
to hear
ourselves
ourselves
and have the
and have
maturity
the
to
maturity to
say,
say,
I'm not gonna keep giving all of me. I'm gonna take some of that for me, actually, and integrate that. And that's for some. And other people are learning, oh, I've been taking it all for me. And
True.
now it's time for me to let it work for all of us, because a human is not built in as a single. It's a community by nature. We have groups of cells that form organs. We have multiple organs that form us as a body. And then suddenly we have this consciousness, and it works with other consciousnesses to build a community. Even though each cell, group cells and stem cells can be considered. You know what? I'm going to turn this off. Hello? Can you hear me? This is crazy.
You took it out?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
how's that?
Okay, that's fine. Let me even.
Okay. Did I have an echo and sound like I was in a machine?
Yeah. Let me see, and I see I'm on 25%. So let me.
Laser really done headphones, but why are they just packing up, creating full purpose line? I feel in what's happening now, shifting another retro, like the dip shifting of our golden age, with each itself must all of these things that were out of line. So it's one at this point, gaping feelings, gaping of our actual stepping into a lot of some of them from last couple, even more play to not you're here.
What's going on? You've got a funky echo. Me too now.
You don't have an echo, and we are filmed. Frozen.
I know we're live. I was watching as I was coming in.
It sounded bad.
Sounds horrible.
Great.
I'm gonna log out and then log back in.
Coming from. What is happening? I real quick and
Oh, it's me.
Difficulties before. Well,
We're Friday.
so the people are ready to go. Technology is who feel like they've been online. Anybody?
It's still.
Actually feel real. It's a real process to. Alright, can you hear me? Check them out. So there. Yeah. It's okay to me.
It sounds
weird. Oh, wait. Yeah, cutting in and out. Yeah. To do now.
You got.
Say. Okay, back. Interesting for me. A lot of stuff has come how I've been in were open and my heart is like to the point where the sweetness I actually it's more
It's
than
wrong.
is right.
I said still
Or if I mute
it
myself.
just start getting crazy. I don't know what.
I don't know what my background.
Go out and come back in. Hello. Okay, now let me do a 1-2 test. Do I sound like a robot? Hey, Mimi. Just waiting on you to tell me if I sound like a robot. Do I sound like a robot?
Check, check, 1, 2, mic check, checker.
She said no. All good on my end. Okay, now you sounding better.
Okay, great. What did you
Okay,
do so far? The meaning of the universe.
we gave the codes and the to Union.
I'm expecting you in any minute now. That was just the thing. We just missed it. We totally. I'm just
We
kidding.
got down lot. It's just like what you said. 1, 2, and 3. You do them steps you just told us to do, April. We on the go. We on you.
It's like I feel like I'm ready to go, but everything is telling you slow down, take your time, rest. You think you gotta push, but you can't push. You still apparently got technical difficulties to figure out, and the major thing is clear communication. So that's funny that people are saying you sound like a robot, and I'm like, that's interesting because I'm when you overthink things and you overanalyze, which is a majority of, I would say, um, the twin flame journey for a lot of divine feminines, right? Trying to figure stuff out and wanting there to be an answer, wanting there to be resolution. And we talked about this a while back, but there is no true resolution to life. There's no true resolution to experience. It's an ongoing process of forgiveness and release and surrender and, receiving and all of these tactics, but actually using discernment now. So, a lot, I was saying before I was a robot that my heart was shutting down. So, it's kind of funny that I turned into a robot, right?
Right.
But what that did was I no longer was over emotional to the point of blindness, right? So um, it's a very interesting way to be, but then also learning to open up again, right? When you are in love with something, you're not thinking about it, you're just enjoying it and doing it. But when you are thinking about it so hard, you're trying to make sure everything aligns, really everything has to be really perfectly set up in order for it to flow, when in actuality, when you're just doing it, it turns out better. It turns out perfectly. Sometimes that recipe gets that tweak that it needs when you're just going with it and you're trusting your intuition and you're in the right space. Then you turn out to be the right space at the right time. You add a little bit of this seasoning and that seasoning, and then it's, well, I just turned grandma's recipe into something absolutely amazing, slightly different, but it's mine now.
Mm-hmm.
Creating that space for you. And I feel like that's what this retrograde is doing. It's clearing templates, not only societal, but family and generational, as well as, internal. We got past life stuff coming out, people coming out of the works to kind of interact and then actually say, oh, this hasn't been working. It just hasn't. I kept trying to say it was working, but it wasn't. So let's be honest, let's be real about it. So I feel like the Piscean new moon is giving us a space to actually see what things are But then Pisces are cold. Pisces are cold blooded, man. You ever? I love, I love Pisces, but they can be cold. That's a I agree. Oh,
I just claim the fifth.
okay,
I
she's
tried
claiming.
to tell. I'm like,
They can be cold, but it's their nature, right? Like, and so what that does is allows you to have extreme discernment.
yes.
And so I think I fell into this full moon where my heart shut down and my mind is like, I see you, but I'm not also over trusting the mind because the mind can play tricks on you. I'm actually just observing. And how does this work in observation? Oh, this is what I'm seeing. Okay, now I can make a clear decision because I'm not swayed by my emotions. I haven't over analyzed it. I'm just going to let it go and trust the process, right?
Yeah.
Because fish also usually swim with the flow of the water. Sometimes they swim against the current when they're like mating or doing whatever, in terms of salmon running and all that. But they usually flow with the ocean, with the tides, with those emotions. So it's interesting that that emotions theme and that water theme kind of keeps coming out. I don't know what happened, Kathy D. We had her for a hot minute, but she told
So
us
yeah, yeah. What's happening? Why this thing not charging?
told us it wasn't working. So thank you, Kathy D. We have realigned. Where's our anchor at? Lord, send us our Capricorn. And then my son walks in because he's a little cap. Um, but this full moon, I felt great. I was I was tired, but I let myself rest. I had the world. I mean, I had the room to rest. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that one. I mean, if you told me to do it, I did it. I'm kind of in agreement with you saying about how it is as far as this discernment. I found myself to really, really trust. Well, I'm always speaking about the heart. To really saying, okay, what does it feel? Does it feel like? And a new thing I've been learning myself is do I feel like I'm giving my power away by doing this? And I could tell because my gut feels like, and I get tight in my body, and I'm letting my body also kind of be a guide and a like a tuning fork. They saying about the energies and the vibrations. Say, okay, when you did that, you gave your power away. That didn't feel good. No, you've been dealing with that and shoving it down and saying, okay, make it as like I'm okay. It feels good, like you saying about the baby. You saying I like it. You like, but your face saying it don't like what it just ate. It's just like it's fine, but now my body's like, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I felt like I was giving my power away. So I've been doing a lot of that, engaging and making sure that it's like I ask myself like a child, say, okay, how did you feel after that? You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. No, really. Are you okay? No, I didn't really feel good after that interaction. Okay. So now what's going on? So it's been a lot of really that inner dialogue and really checking in and saying, no, I want you to really be in touch with your emotions. Let's not lie about it. Is there something we can do? Or is there something that you just have to get to the point of you just accepting? Or, is it something that you got to remember that, hey, you're not dealing with yourself? People are not always going to do things the way you want them to. Is this a new engagement that we have to kind of rely on or to do? So it's been a lot of that going on with me, just like really truly being with integrity with the way of my emotions and how I'm feeling about things, and stop lying about it. Like, okay, I'll do this. Yeah. And then the next minute I was like, I really didn't want to do that. Okay, so why you talk me into doing this? It's like that. That's what I've been
Big
kind of
facts.
going through. It's like you
Facts on
should have
all of
said
it.
no in the first damn place. Bump what they thinking. So that working with that people pleasing thing.
Mm-hmm.
To,
Oh
that
yes.
you say, oh yes, okay, Kathy, did you
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you. I kind of heard what you guys were saying as I was in transition, and the needing. I think we've gotten all to a point where we have done so much work. I heard April talking about the shadow side and all this stuff, and we're learning to sit with it, and we're learning to accept it, and we're learning to, and it's kind of almost gotten, I know for me, to the point where I had to have somebody else look at it. Like even when you're proofreading a paper, you need another set of eyes. I needed another set of eyes, and like totally removed eyes that didn't know anything about the situation. I had to have that other set of eyes. And they were able to see, so much wounding that I had been pushing down. Oh, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's just, part of it was I pushed it down because I knew I had done it to my girls. So I pushed it down because I was going to ignore it. So then it didn't happen to them either. And so there's been a lot of that, a lot of the stepping back from the people pleasing. I think probably the greatest comment, and I guess it's kind of a backhanded compliment, but it actually was a very wonderful compliment, was from my ex-husband, who said the other night, "I don't know who you are anymore. I don't understand what you talk about. I don't understand you anymore." And I thought, yes, finally, I've been away from him, and finally it's sinking in that I'm being able to speak my truth. I hadn't realized how long it had been since I hadn't spoke my truth. And so that was, even though he was meaning it as a kind of a put down, it was actually, that was a major compliment. You don't understand me anymore? Good. That means I have risen above that nonsense of yours. I also had some random guy from back home send me this text message and wanting to, friend me and all this kind of stuff. And everything he said was just this backhanded, compliments, like, "Oh, well, I won't wish you a good morning anymore if you can't bother to say good morning back to me." And I just responded back with, "Okay. Who are you? You're not going to guilt me into this." No, I have I'm like, literally, like, I have a PhD in this. I lived 18 years in and out.
Amen.
You're not. He was like, "Well, if somebody speaks to me, I always speak back. I can't believe how rude you are." And I went, "Bloop, block."
Yeah.
So then he took to Facebook and he starts posting all this stuff. "I'll unfriend you," and da 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 da. "What a this you are, what a witch you are, but with a B," and all this kind of stuff. And he tried to put them on my page, and I just kept deleting them off my page and hiding comments. And so finally he put it on his page, and I thought, well, nobody I know nor care about's on his page, so I don't care. And that was that. But it was like, nope, not doing it, not repeating that. I don't need the attention. I don't want the attention. I like being alone. And I don't need it. And I did not play into it. And from then, a lot of the creepers that were usually hanging around had disappeared. They had left the building with Elvis. So
Elvis has left the building.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of truths are coming out. We've had some really major truths, but one thing I want to remind everybody of is we're talking about the truth, the Mercury retrograde and everything, and the full moon, going to be a very powerful one. Always remember
all the
life,
retrograde.
Yes, all the retrogrades. Life is happening for us, not to us. And when it gets really, really bad and you're really in the thick of it and not really sure what you need to do, remind yourself at that point, even though it's dark, let yourself, feel that darkness and stuff, but then remind yourself to look for the miracles that are coming out of it.
Right.
And so sometimes it's just one of those things like, wow, this is crazy. I can't wait to see what miracles come out of this. And because, I've been saying it for months now. I wake up every morning, and I wonder what miracles are going to happen today. I look forward to the miracles that are happening today and the manifesting. Please watch what you say. Liz, heed April's warnings all these years that we've been on.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening. And it's things that we manifested almost over a year ago are coming in like gangbusters, and not even
Like
the way we thought they would.
like 10,
So,
like 7, 10 years ago, all this stuff is
yes.
racking up. And then there's a
Oh my
lot of
God.
instant manifestation, like, I want to see so and so, and then they
Right.
appear. It's absolutely nuts.
That's exactly what I was saying.
And how about start being able to just pick things out? Oh, that'll be this, and well, that one's going to be that, and I can now look through my roll at school and go, oh, that one's going to be absent. Yeah, that one's going to be absent. Now I'm not feeling him; he might be tardy, but I can go through and almost call them out on who's going to be absent and who's going to be there before they walk in the classroom.
Yeah, our sensories is kind of really being
Yes.
and more things are coming online, very much so with that, because I don't even know in the classroom the kids, but we know we got teachers here anyway, but they're like, damn, she heard that. Like, yeah, dang, you got supersonic hearing, but but it's like really it's finding out a lot of new things, dreams, a lot of things. And like you're saying about the manifestation, I mean, you got to watch it, because you could manifest something else on the journey. Like, okay, now I got to really choose.
Right. It's not time to be defeatist. Like all the other bullshit that we have been putting ourselves through, we have been here as a group training ourselves to get out of that, to get out of our own heads, to get out of our own ways. Part of the things they were talking about earlier was the being too nice. When you turn out to be too nice, it makes you a liar. And so you're not intentionally being a liar, but you're being a liar. And so you're not sticking up for yourself in the way that you say, oh, I don't want to do this. Even yesterday, I wasn't feeling very up for much. And so I wanted to take my son to go have a simple dinner. And instincts that we sat in a restaurant, and I was like, something's telling me to get the fuck out of here. And I listened, and I got out of there. Even though it was, thank you. That was weird. I said that before they said anything, right? But anyway, so I got out of there, even though it made me feel awkward, even though I was like, oh, well, they might feel some kind of a way. And you know what? Who cares if it makes somebody else feel some kind of a way? In fact, they'll tell you to take your benefits. Like, because I was like, I'll just leave a tip even, just so I can make myself feel better. And it's like, do you even want to leave a tip? No, something is about that space. Like, I was like, you don't have to give $1, just, it's sorry it didn't work out. And I'm like, you don't have to apologize for that. Something, just tell me to leave. And so I left, and we had a decent dinner someplace else. But the point is listening to yourself, even if you feel awkward, even if it feels strange, being honest with yourself, because that's what's going to help you be honest. You don't have to be honest with other people. If you're accepting the fact that you lied a little bit because you're an imperfect human, and you're just telling somebody they look good, and you're like, oh no, they do not look good. Sometimes, but you're lying. That's okay. Because you're consciously saying to yourself, okay, I lied a little bit. I know I'm not perfect. It gives you I'm not saying go out and lie either, but it gives you the fact that, oh, I'm not a perfect human. This other person is not a perfect human. I can accept that. Can I forgive that part of myself that I did that little piece? Yes. But did I hurt someone or kill someone or do something like that? Absolutely not. That's beyond my boundaries. But at least I'm aware of my boundaries.
That's an excellent point. We have to be so aware of those boundaries right now.
It's about the power. Give the power away.
Right. That's a big thing too. That the higher self coming in requires us to stay in power, requires us to stay in balance and in boundaries, and realize, if you're gonna have a trampage, I thought that was so funny. A trampage. If you want to go out there and be a hoe this weekend, go be a hoe this weekend. But don't judge yourself based on some preconceived whatever society says, or maybe I'm supposed to hit these marks. Realize that those were still sold to you. Everything that we have right now in society, whatever society said, it has a sold concept. And it's been sold and bought for so many generations that it's integrated. And now we're like, oh shit, that's now the shadow. So now I gotta look at it. Am I so nice that I'm just sitting here lying to people, sacrificing myself? Like Divine Sunshine was saying, we don't need to sacrifice anymore. We're so quick and apt to want to be accepted or want to feel these things that children want to feel in order to, feel that safety and security. That okay, now we get to heal that. Now we get to look at it. Now we get to acknowledge it, and now we can actually like have compassion for ourselves.
Yeah.
Think compassion. All
we we've
right.
been we've been so ingrained to accept and be accepting and being there for others, that we're in accepting what they have, that we're not being truly accepting of ourselves about what's going on. I know we have said that, but I feel like right now something is clicking for all of us on our journeys, no matter what path that we are actually on, about this acceptance. We're now truly getting it, and it's not from a worldly standard of acceptance of I'm accepting all my good and I'm shaming my bad. It's really saying I'm accepting all of those parts that, I like to do a whole bunch of projects, and somebody was saying, well, you're a master of none, where you have so many things that you're trying to master. And so now getting to the point of saying, you know what, but that's me. I get my energy and I get my power from doing all those different things. Now, if I start one and I stop one, but really truly accepting. I know at the point that we're saying it, but I think now we're getting grounded, like, yeah, that is a part of me. And if it's something that I can fix, I am going to fix that. I can accept myself. If I knew better, I would do better. And when I get to the point that I know better, then that's when I fix it. But if I'm at the point that I'm not, and not understanding that what I need to do, then it's okay. And then really truly going after our bliss. I think now we have also been trained so much, even ingrained, even from where we've been, childhood or even society, about truly saying, does this make me happy? And not even for the twin flame standards or saying about what's going on with others. It's like really finding our true bliss, and that really truly becoming our mission. I think that really right now, collectively, and this is what's being brought to me, is that we're really on the mission of union with self right now, and we've been saying that, but at the same time, but what he doing, yeah, okay, or what's she doing, and now we're gonna say, you know what, hey, I might not be able to please this person, or they might not ever do it the way that I want them to, or they might not get to the point. What happens if maybe they want to be stuck on what you might say, I would say stupid, but they might want to be stuck, or they want to still learn some things and stay in the federal. Where does that leave me? And so a lot of times, that's right now, we're really understanding that we're letting go and saying, okay, you're learning your journey, I'm learning mine, and I'm really trying to find out what makes me happy. So even if that means we're in union and we come together or not, that whomever comes to the table, that sits at the table with me, that I like, you know what, I can sit down and say, this is what brings me bliss. And I'm not ashamed to say it or to point it out or say X, Y, and Z. Beforehand, we were kind of scared to step up to the plate to say, this is this, really have our voice in things. And now we're clearly, because some of us, just to be honest with, we didn't even know what the damn vision was for ourselves. So, that is the point of why it's really important for us to become into mission with our union, mission of finding our bliss, and union with ourselves. Because I told you different forms of mission and union. That is one of the things that we've got to bring to the table so we can be able to even express it to our counterparts or to our friends or family, our little mini world, micro world, and to the world vast and beyond, to really truly get to that point of being able to express that to ourselves. And we really weren't able to. It was kind of muddled, like I kind of got a understanding of what I want. I think we're becoming a little bit more defined now.
Oh, most definitely. And the other thing is, we've got to, everybody says, pull your energy back from your counterpart. And that sounds so horrible. It's like one of the worst things you think you could actually go through. But we've missed a part in that instruction. And that's that we're supposed to do things playfully. We're supposed to be, bringing back out that, child, our inner child, and letting them come out and play. And so the DM and I have had some interesting things going on with schedule changing and everything, and not talking, being able to talk to each other and stuff like that. And so I finally had enough of it, because I was feeling really bad, and I'm thinking, okay, wait, I got a great job. I got 2 beautiful kids. I'm living in a gorgeous house. I have all my own stuff. I can walk through my house naked if I want to. Nobody cares. I finally am to that point where I'm like, I'm happy. I got it. I got it going on. I'll tell you some of the other big news at the end of the show, and we tell what's going on. And so I've got all this great stuff going on, but I just felt heavy. And I was sad, and I was, I would just be driving down the road and just start crying. And I finally just said, okay, I can't do this anymore. I love you, honey, but I'm pulling my energy back. And I'd be going through school, working with the kids, and all of a sudden things would start popping in my head. Our old hometown. And I get a big smile on my face. I'd be like, no. Not getting that energy today. I did 2 things. One, I did it playfully. I pulled it back so he didn't think he was in trouble. I didn't want him to understand. I said, you can't have my energy to fix your mess. You got to do this on your own, honey. I love you. I always will. But this one you got to do on your own. And as I pulled it back, but I did it playfully. And then I would get these little things, these little hits. And then all of a sudden I start getting texts. And then the next thing you know, I got a selfie out of the blue. And then I got a phone call out of the blue. And I was like, okay. So I did it the next day. What do you know? I got texts out of the blue. Or I get crazy dreams. Or I get just huge song downloads. Or, it's just all this stuff. And 2 things I did. Well, actually 3. One, I pulled my energy back for me. Not because I was punishing him. I wasn't. I want him to get healthy. I want to be healthy. I want us to move on. We're right at that brink where we're ready to move into mission together. So I'm ready to get there. And I'm not going to let him use my energy to keep him comfortable in an uncomfortable situation anymore, because I love him that much that I'm going to pull that energy back. Well, I'm going to tell you, I didn't die. It didn't feel like he died. It wasn't anything terrible or horrific. But I pulled it back playfully. I took care of myself. I loved myself enough. That was self-love. Yeah. And I love my inner child. And then the other thing that, as I noticed that I did when I pulled this back, it was that large unconditional love. I was doing this because I love him so much. I want him to get well. And I can't let him use my energy anymore to stay comfortable where he is. And so it doesn't sound like it was horrific or, and it wasn't horrible. It didn't, it wasn't like what we all think it was, And then I started looking around in my life and I thought, wow, who else do I need to cut cords with? Let's see. Oh, yeah. And my dad, as some of you know, has dementia. And I went to see him a week ago, and he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who Jackie was. He didn't know who anybody was. He spoke to me like I was a stranger. He told me about myself. And so I was like, okay, that's, I know my dad loves me from what he said about me. I know he's not real happy with choices I have made in my life. But it was very interesting, even though oblivious to who I was, he still told me about how I was going to be with the DM. And I was like, wow. And it was a spur of the moment kind of thing. Jackie and I had just run over to the town next town over where he is in his nursing home. Okay. And I was like, you know what, let's swing by and see Grandpa, and we did. And so it was one of those things, and it was gratitude. It was right there. It was gratitude. And I said, thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Because I needed to go, and they had a message for me through him. Mm-hmm. And so I decided, I was like, okay, I need to cut some of those more painful chords. I need to
Yeah.
forgive myself for not letting go and not unharboring kind of some of the really bad feelings that I had for him. But then also at his state where he is with dementia, it came in really clear to me that I had to, and even though everybody says, oh, forgiveness is for you, not for them, blah, 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 I had to really go in and talk to his higher self and just tell him, Daddy, I forgive you. You're forgiven. You can go. We're good. Please let go. I mean, this was a man that was a college professor, could quote Shakespeare and E. Cummings and all this literature and everything off the top of his head. I remember as a kid sitting and watching him watch Jeopardy because he could almost run every category.
Mm-hmm.
And to the fact that now he doesn't even know who we are. And he was just this huddled little slump of a man. His quality of life isn't there. And it's like, I don't know what you're hanging on for. And if you're hanging on for my forgiveness, I give it to you.
Yes.
I'm letting you go. I forgive myself for not forgiving you sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there comes that time where, yes, when we forgive, I forgive you, but, it doesn't matter if they know, blah, 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 blah. But there are some times that we have to, because there are soul contracts. And we have got to understand that as much as we focus on the one soul contract, there are hundreds of other soul contracts. And we have to be able to thank people for doing what they're doing, for coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and, teaching us a lesson or helping us teach them a lesson, because we always learn something. Somehow we have an energy exchange, however, if it's the lady in the grocery store or if it's your closest friend. And we have to be open and thankful for that.
Yeah.
But just, it's that gratitude moment, and that's the thing, cutting those cords, being playful, pulling my energy back. Didn't cut the cords with the DM, just pulled the energy back, but I was playful. It was fun. It was, I showed gratitude, thank you for opening my eyes and letting me feel strong enough. Because there was a time I wasn't strong enough. And when people say, oh, you just need to cut your energy, pull your energy back. You need to just do it when you're comfortable. Don't push the process. There's no timeline. The universe has got this. If you need to do something right this minute, they will make sure you do it right this minute. But if it's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, don't do it. Just like you were talking about, April, walking in that restaurant and then being like, yep, don't need to be here. We had the same thing happen the other weekend at the beach for Labor Day. I was with one of my best friends and her daughter and my girls. And we walked up to a restaurant. We were standing outside, kind of looking at the menu, getting ready to walk in. And there was a guy sitting there. And I finally just went, whoa, I am too claustrophobic to be over here. And I shot off out onto the sidewalk. And everybody's like, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I was just like, that guy's energy is so bad. I mean, I don't even apologize anymore. I don't say, I just got this funny feeling. And I just I didn't like where I was standing. And I just felt like, nuh-uh. That guy's energy was bad. I was falling out. I'm tired of acting like that it's, I'm doing something wrong because I'm tuning into a God-given gift that all of us have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's some of that, speaking our truth and being tired of apologizing for who I am.
Yeah.
And just really letting, everything flow. And at that point, from that point on, the universe just kind of it was like a huge hug. And we had a great breakfast. Everything was just perfect. And we walked to the beach. And right now on the Atlantic coast, we were having a horrible time with jellyfish. And I mean, from little tiny ones to what they call the moon babies. And those things are huge. And the girls would go in the ocean and the little ones they were zapping them. They weren't, bad stings, but they were, little almost like ant bite stings. And they'd have the little whelps and stuff. And I said, we were sitting out on the beach. I said, man, I'm hot. I'm going to go get in the water. And they're like, you're going to get stung by jellyfish. You're going to get stung by jellyfish. I said, no, I'm not. They're like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. And I got to the edge of the water and I was like, all right, guys, I know you're here. I'm here. You stay your way. I'm just going in to cool off and then I'm coming right back out. I'm not here to bother you. I walked right into the ocean, stood there for a few minutes, cooled off, turned around, walked right back out, and they all went, "How'd you do that?" Because literally, I could see them around me. They didn't get close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was like, and then everybody's like, "What'd you do?" And Helen's like, my mom just talked to him. It's all right. So even my girls are getting to the point where before it used to be, oh, it's a sign. They'd make fun of me. Now they're accepting it. And they're saying things like, you need to go talk to my mom about this, or you need to go, So
And like, listen
everybody's kind
to
of coming into their
yourself.
truth.
Right, their power too, right? Because that's a skill set, and she had the confidence to step into it and knowing it was there without letting all of the naysaying, because that's kind of what is happening right now. Everybody's pointing fingers, everybody wants to be right, and we've been wrong enough that we accepted where we were wrong and then where we were right. And so when you really gain that self trust, when you put down all of that baggage that you've been carrying since childhood or past life experiences and so on that said that you weren't enough or you didn't do the right thing and blah blah blah, you finally forgive yourself for the times that you didn't listen, right? Because we all look back on a lot of those things that we experienced as trauma, and when we had control to leave that trauma or to walk away, and we have to forgive ourselves through the whole process of, I let that experience happen, it happened for me, but I had to learn this lesson the hard way. If I had just listened to my instinct XYZ number of times, then I wouldn't have had that experience. And so she was able to stand in her power and say, this is a skill set, this is a gift, this is all I need to do is just cool off. And nature works in harmony with you, in tandem with you. I'm finding that animals are very, very complacent with what nature is saying and what our higher selves and our higher energetics are saying. We're here to be in harmony. We're not here to be in discord. It's the concepts that society has put on us to be in discord, that we think discord is actually part of nature, but it's actually about harmony, right? Because it's all frequency and vibration and music. And when you finally find your place in the choir, sometimes it's your solo, sometimes it's you step back and let somebody else have their solo, or sometimes it's just the music fill, or maybe it's the rest between songs too, so you can appreciate that next moment, because it's all been this real beautiful mirror, right? It's all been this process of letting go and receiving, but then also realizing where you have to have compassion for yourself because you've been abused so much, because you've been traumatized so much. And that's often where it's the little tiny things that we think, oh, I'm just being nice. And it's like, maybe you're being too nice. Or I'm just, trying to be, it's like, just say when you're at capacity, I've been saying I'm at capacity now. Like, I'm just done. And I'm okay with that.
We got to stop the self-abuse. Because we allow other people to do it, make us feel uncomfortable for it. Then we make ourselves feel uncomfortable for it. And we're just doubling up on the trauma and the abuse. And that's how it continues on, because we do it to ourselves and then we allow others to do it.
And the thing is, it's our society, especially if you're American, right? Because I'm not going to talk about any other society because I'm not. But they've beaten us all into a slavery state, right? So a lot of people are still shifting out of the slavery mentality of, okay, well, I'm a slave to the American dream, or I'm a slave to the concepts of what it means to be a woman, or I'm the slaves of a concept of what it means to be a man. And that's the hardest one that's coming out, because they're a feeling. You cannot not feel right now. There's so much happening with this retrograde. You have to go slow because everything feels like, oh, and there's a trigger. Oh, and there's a memory. Oh, I forgot that person was even alive. And now you're going through the process of dealing with that nonsense that's not even in that moment. And you're like, wow, my body's still echoing these. Wow. Okay. And since it's still echoing, it's like you drop the only way. Okay. So what picture came into my head was fish tank. And you drop a pebble in it and you see the water goes back or goes out and then it comes back. And then in the world of like theoretical mathematics, right, if there was no fish tank, it would just keep rippling and affecting everything, which it does. Now when you put the fish tank back, it comes back to you, and it's not as high and it's not as intense, and it keeps coming back less and less and less, but it keeps coming back. And so once you start to integrate that, that's going to come back, because people fighting their shadow or trying to ignore that, shit's going to keep coming back, and it gets louder. It turns more into like a typhoon scenario where it keeps picking up speed and wanting to get noticed, and then back out again, and if you don't deal with it, it does return. If you don't find a way to alchemize it and shift that energy, then it keeps returning. When in reality, even when you do alchemize it, you're still going to have the memory of it. The thought of it's still going to come back, unless you put yourself into a state. I'm going to bring this up simply because there's so many people with Alzheimer's and dementia and all this stuff that happens to them, because there are memories that are conflicting with who their egoic self wants to be. Now, and our egoic self wants to be perfect, or wants to be this placeholder that never existed, but we were somehow conditioned to think it should exist. If you can accept the failings that you have, some people do some unforgivable shit, to be real. But most of us are not in that level. Most of us are not in that wheelhouse. But we are in the age of, like, people did horrible things to each other because of race or because of sex or because of whatever. But that is no longer us. We're not carrying those templates, but we are having to forgive what they have been programmed within us. And a lot of that is fit in, conform, be quiet, don't say too much. You just got to look good. You got to do this, you got to do that. And it's like, but really though, do I? And now I'm at that point where I'm just like rebellious, and I get why all the kids are super rebellious. It's just a matter of saying, okay, I understand that you have this instinct that says, fuck the system, or
Right,
buck
they do. Very true.
But we also need to find out when is it important to buck the system. If somebody's telling you to go with somebody that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's when you buck the system. However, if I'm just trying to change your dirty diaper, and that's not good for your system, maybe we shouldn't buck it so much. Maybe the system's in play for a reason. So that same thing within you, yeah, I want to help these people, I want to do all this self-sacrificing, but then you realize, okay, well, the self-sacrificing part isn't helpful. That's going to hurt me in the long run. That means I'm going to hurt others, right? But sometimes it's okay to spend a little extra time with someone that needs some help when you have it, and that's going to change their vibration. It's going to ripple effect. But if you did it grudgingly and you were half paying attention, you're on your phone or you're doing whatever, that's just gonna reinforce whatever systems of theirs, which is, people don't want to hear me, I'm not enough to listen to, blah blah blah. It's very interesting. It's a very integrated dynamic that's now we can talk about it. We can have a basic conversation about our needs. And now people are now learning to listen to people that they were taught not to. So a lot of men and women were taught not to listen to women. We're taught not to listen to children. We're taught to ignore things that disturb them. We're taught to seek comfort at all costs. And now we're realizing, oh shit, there's nowhere to really get comfortable. Because even the food that I was using to eat to make me feel comfortable now makes me uncomfortable. So now I can't enjoy the things it's crazy. Everybody's having the shifts. Everybody's also re-identifying. So they're no longer in love with the trauma or the egoic of, I have these sufferings. These horrible things have been happening to me. And I think that's where the leadership, for anybody who's here right now, you're in a leadership role. Right? True. You're in a space that says, okay, you've integrated enough that we're giving you the downloads and the community to alchemize this, right? Because just by coming here and being with us and having this conversation and being able to see your own patterns and having this recognition, it puts you in the upper tier of people who are self-aware. So those who haven't stepped into that stage, you have more patience with that understanding. Right? If a person's never been in love before, but they've been seeking lots and lots of love, of course they're going to have some bumps. And you can tell them all you want, but they have built-in blinders that says, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be in love and do this stuff, and I'll sacrifice this part of myself or this system. And then it catches up to them. And even though you might have told them and you led the horse to the water, but they didn't want to drink it, we're no longer in that state of being attached and judging ourselves based on their actions. We're now saying, okay, I accept and understand this patience, and now because I saw that outside of me, I'm going to have that patience even more so inside of me, which loops us back to the beginning, where Bertina was telling us about the basement and the emotions and all of these things coming to the surface, because we've got that watery Pisces. And what's interesting is Pisces technically tend to be cold, but they bring a lot of emotion to the surface. And when
Mhm.
they are ready, they are some of the most passionate, connected, loyal lovers. However,
They're gonna bring it out of you.
you can't force that. You have to allow it to be what it is. You
Right.
have to accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's when you feel comfortable and ready to shed that, that's when you shed it. Nobody heals trauma traumatically.
Mm-mm. God, no.
But trauma does not heal trauma. Trauma breeds more trauma. Get that
Exactly.
formula in your head if you don't get anything else. Um I was trying to see that is true about the nature thing too as well. I had that about going to work and I seen the spider on the intercom system that we were trying to go in. He was huge too, but at the same time I found myself being beautiful. Like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. It was black and had like a yellow markings on it. It was huge, and I found myself just talking to it and then saying, okay, now you got to kind of get down, even while people are around it. They're like, I'm not touching the intercom. I said, okay, calm down. And I was talking to her. I said, you're just so beautiful. I said, but what I need you to do is to come down, get off of the button so people can press so we can get in. And it did find its way, just kind of crawling down. Like you said about nature. I mean, we had that, but after I heard myself, I was like, other people probably thought you like it's not handsome. That thing is huge and it's scary to us. But I'm like, you're just beautiful. And I meant that sincerely. But it just hit me. So maybe that's something that's going collectively with us in the reprogramming, the downloading that we're having too, as well as how we're changing there too. I want to, and it's still, and I get that fork in the road when I was hearing you saying that, and then we'll close out on that because I know you got to go and I got to get up early with my mom. Which is, um, let's not call it pulling back the energy. Spirit said we still ain't got that terminology right. It's not, we see it as pulling back, but it's just more so of taking the energies and focusing on self. I don't know why I'm hearing like Lee and Sherry, like Lee say, how can you pull energies from yourself?
Right.
Do you, because that's your other self. Can you actually pull energies? And when you pull the energies from yourself, what happens? You feel bad for it, you feel depleted. So you can't really do that. It's just that again, it's just again, because society, that goes back to what April said, doesn't want you to say, well, let me be selfish, let me focus on self. Because society is always pushing you to say, think about others. What would Jesus do? Or again, in the spiritual community, and we're all guilty of this too, it's about service to others. But yeah, hell, it's about service to myself too. Focus. So it's not pulled back. They keep saying, I'm hearing it loud, like that term is wrong. I was like, okay, calm down. I'm not going to scream at them and say that, but it's like they're saying it's just turning within. So let's use it that way. Then say, I'm pulling back. I'm turning within, working with self. And again, as we're saying, back full circle, so within, so without, it's going to radiate over to the other end because again, we're connected. That's your other self. So they're going to benefit either way it goes. But we're not going to call it I'm pulling back because that seems like that's coming from an ego statement. And that's not just you. That's something that collectively a term that we've all learned, that we're saying that that's not it. But I'm saying I'm going within and I'm gonna go within. And so I know by me doing the work within, I'm going without. But I can just feel Lee like really strongly, like he's sitting next to me in this kitchen, like, how can you do that? So it's that's kind of watching. I probably will do a video on that. The terminology and trigger warning about that pulling stuff and that cutting of the cords. And also you kind of touched upon that too, April, about the riddling of the water. And I love how K Moon saying that vibration and the pebble, and how that vibration is whatever vibration that made the energy between you and this other person or this situation not to be smooth and rocky, how we can stop that vibration happening between us and the other person. And some of that stuff, like what Kathy D was saying, the DM has got to learn how to stop to do that. We've been mastering and showing them, and it's not like a person like, okay, now you're grasshopper, and now little grasshopper, is your turn to learn how to stop the energy and the rocking of the boat. And so what I'm going to do is turn within, so now you can learn lessons of how to be able to be the master yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another way of putting it. But anyways, they cut it off, all that other stuff. So that's just a terminology. But they were screaming. I'm like, okay, when she's finished, I will circle back and I will address that. But they were like, I don't like that term. I'm like, okay, calm down. We got that. But
Well,
that's it.
if we think about it in terms of like, it's different, right? Because we're not a parent to this person, but a parent and child, or a parent and well, pets or children too. We say, we'll show you how to do these things, and then eventually you learn how to do them yourself. And it's not that we're saying we want them to be independent. This is what came up. Okay, finally I remember, because I was like, there's something that was happening when she was talking about that too. It was the reason that you give them so much energy is because you are attempting to have control of a situation that is outside of yourself.
That's true.
And so when you pull that energy within, you look within with that energy, you find out, what makes me want to control their situation? What makes me want to shift that for them? And then once you realize that you can't do something for someone externally other than hold their hand and cross the street, blah, 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 you say, okay, then I'll work on that part of me that feels like I want to keep giving that. I'll turn that into maybe more self-care time or self-love. And it really does shift. And then how do you receive, right? Because some people are turning their receiving into, how can I turn around and give this away? Right? And
Right.
it's like,
That's
just
true.
hold on to it. Just actually let it be. How do you be wealthy? Um, you kind of hold on to some of that wealth, and you look at it and you enjoy it. Just like, how do you hold on to your self worth, your love, your energy? You kind of look at it, you enjoy it, you let it build up, and then you give from that overflow. So thank you so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Again, so again, we yeah, that is where we are on this journey. That's why I kind of like the little breaks when we're talking about going to the throwing it out there and being a slave to something. YouTube sometimes doesn't allow us because we're thinking about getting out there in the content and everything like that, that we don't really make sure we give it time to breathe, like really let you all marinate over what we say, and then we go and also go and practice it. I can even tell from the last time we do that, I feel growth even between the three of us. We're not that same
Mhm.
energy as well. And so like I say, this cranking it out like a daggone cookie, like a factory, at Oreo cookie factory, this ain't going that's not going to work. I mean, we've got to kind of, even with ourselves, we're saying it and we're preaching it, but it's like, are we practicing it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm kind of mastering, but then I want to throw it back out there again. So
right.
I think, again, also, like I said, just breathing and marinating and letting go, so that the next time when we have some more things that we can, some more rich experiences and things that we can also give on that. So we intuitively will let it guide and say as far as when it will be the next time. And if our things happening, schedules happening, like, hey, this is not a good time, then we know, hey, it's some things that we got to learn, so that when we do come on, that the content is content rich and not this content just throwing it out there like a factory as well. So is there anything, I'm chomping at the bit, so I want to hear what's this great announcement that we have over here to my other side here. So Kathy, I'm gonna let you go first.
Pineapple Fish Wellness is going with a new platform. I am not going to be doing as much with the like twin flame counseling and things like that.
Okay.
I am going more into wellness and health, and we're going to be working more with weight loss and body consciousness and being healthy, because so much of what affects us is what we eat, how we use food, um, how we see it. We've been traumatized. I've seen it with my own girls, from my oldest having an eating disorder to where the minute she eats and calculates her calories, she actually has learned how to throw up just enough. To the littlest one being so concerned about eating that she's scared to eat in front of people, just from the words of just one person has done that to these girls. And it affects everything. It affects Helen now with anemia. It affects Jackie with binging and purging. And so weight and weight loss is such a thing. Everybody, it doesn't matter and it doesn't matter where you are. And it's one of those things that it's such a lifeline, because really and truly, when we get down to the core of it, when you hear people say, I want to lose weight, why do you want to lose weight? And ultimately, when you keep asking them over and over, oh, well, I want to wear pretty clothes. Well, why do you want to wear pretty clothes? Well, because and it leads down more and more and more and more to, they don't like themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So ultimately, that was kind of the best niche we could find, that really I could help people with the hypnotherapy, with past life regression, with everything, and bringing them something very positive that they can do with their bodies, and being able to work that way. So I am working with Gavin of Gavin Speaks and his business partner, Jaden. And so I have went across the pond, and they are helping me with all of my marketing and website and everything, just because hypnotherapy is such a huge thing over in Europe, and we just haven't caught on yet. And so they are helping me with all of that, and so we should really see some major movement starting the end of this month, if not the first part of October. So
Then yay! I'm doing the Kermit. You know how Kermit be, yay! Like, dang, the Kermit gonna have a stroke over there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh yeah. April, what's going on with you? Wonderful. Happy, joy. What's happening with you, April?
I am still. Give me another. Give next month. Maybe I'll have something for y'all. Stuff that doesn't really need to be out there right now. So we're gonna be working on that until we're ready to have it come out. Right.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah.
As long as you're okay with it, that's all that matters.
Because I've been I've been grinding. You've seen me for a year or 2 years. I'm talking about all the setup. Well, I set all the stuff up. I do all the work, but y'all's spirit says, nope, not yet. They ain't ready. They ain't ready for that yet. You're not even ready for that yet. So I'm just taking my bit. So I gotta trust the process. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and that is true. I told you all, some of our mission is now. She's doing Kathy Dewitt's mission in the world and seeing how she can help with her niche. Right now, April's mission is self, or union with self, and it's all still union with that, and with nephew, getting him together. She's telling about the fabulous stuff he's doing and helping him evolve and grow into the wonderful being that he is to be. My mission right now is this house. I'm working outer to reflect, to see what I got to work on inner. It's an interesting ride to see that. It's like, okay, your house is a reflection. It's like, okay, the structure got to get fixed. It was the roof thing the gutters had to be fixed. It was openings there, things which will represent the brain. Got to get that tight and get that right. So I'm just letting the universe kind of like lead me and show me where it's like, okay, you got holes in the bucket, dear Liza. Okay, so that's just where I am right now. So, when it's guys me to help, I do. But right now, mission is self and loving, truly loving self.
Mhm.
With that, but I'm always here. I stop. If spirit tell me you need to help this person or whatever, you can always get services. Go to
Mhm.
BuyingUnSo11.co, or if you need a past life regression session, I always leave that open. When spirit leads and they tell you I'm the one, you need to come talk to me. Go to ShantiWellnessCenter.com as well. So that doesn't stop. I just only do that on the weekends as well. But otherwise, that I'm always here. We're always here for you if needed. Be if something instructed. I know everybody say, okay, let me stop it. Spirit told you it must be something I need to work on in my spiritual work. All right, then. So again, get us on out of here. Started with you, Kathy D.
Well, make sure that you empty all the virtual sand out of your shoes and socks. Clean up all of your sandbox toys. Pick up anything that's not yours, leaving the place better than you found it. Wishing you your best life ever. See you real soon.
All right, then. April Wiggins.
I usually say a real quick outro, but Spirit's like, everything is in retrograde. Everything is in retrograde.
Right.
So take this time to be patient with yourself and let the shit come up and surrender and let it go. Or else it's just going to feel awful if you don't, because there's some shocking stuff that's coming to us all.
Oh, yes.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, then. And as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste and Nama goes. As within, so without. All right, then. Till next time. Love you. See you on the playground. Experience.
Aloha.